camera angles. Like it seemed very poorly put together from that standpoint. And I just felt like it was the same old with these guys. Like there was nothing new to this match that I was just kind of like, oh, this took their feud to a new level. This is booming. This is not something I've seen from these two. It's like they repeated every match that they did in this one match to try to like recapture the story or like kind of bring a conclusion to it, I guess. But I don't know. I just did not care for it. Maybe I would have felt different had it been a couple weeks removed from Mania, or if this was shown to me before the other two matches. Like this match technically was supposed to be on TakeOver. Like if I would have saw this match, especially if this was how it was planned to go live in front of an audience with the whole Candice LeRae swerve and all that, like if that was the whole plan the entire time, and this was how the storyline was supposed to end and all this stuff, had I saw that at TakeOver before Mania, my opinion might be a little different. But I felt like because the fact that we just got out of, in my opinion, given the circumstances, a really good WrestleMania weekend, especially with the kind of shots of a cinematic type match that was shot. I thought this was poorly done. I hated the ending. The ending is probably the worst way to end one of the best rivalry storylines that's been out there. Like, I can't imagine saying that they will never fight again, and the last time that they're gonna fight, the ending was Johnny Gargano's wife came in, kicked him in the nuts, kicked Ciampa in the nuts, and then revealed that Gargano was wearing a cup. Like, that was the stupidest ending. And I'm all for storylines. Like, guys, I'm a John Cena fan. I love the Firefly Funhouse. I can get behind weird storylines. I can get behind crazy things.
I wish I would have had the soundbite that just
I just
anytime you say John Cena,
it's John Cena. I can get behind things like that. But this one here, when I've seen such great things come out of these two guys, when I've seen two guys who should be the face of the company at some point, when I see these guys and what they've done, and then I watch this, and I'm just kind of like, this was not up to par to what they've done. The quality of how it was shot was not up to par with the Boneyard match or the Firefly Funhouse match. And then the ending was terrible. That is the worst ending to two talented wrestlers
I agree.
I have ever seen in my entire life. They should have ended that the way that they've ended every other match, was something that just blew your mind. This doesn't blow my mind. This really makes me mad. Like, it makes me mad that these two ended their feud with a girl kicking both of them in the nuts and then found out one had a cup on. Like, it was bad.
I like the surprise element of it, like I said, but I agree with the actual payoff because, I mean, this is a years-long feud in NXT, and then you just end it, like you mentioned, with two crotch shots. And then, again, the in-ring psychology I thought was good. I thought it was shot well, but I 100% agree with the ending and the payoff of what's supposed to be the end of this feud. Williams says, aren't all wrestlers supposed to wear cups? I don't think that's a requirement. I think that's
I'd be shocked that most of them wore cups, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a requirement or not, but either way,
I'm all for swerves, but this was just.
Let's do this, guys. For time's sake, I think we might have to save our Brawl for All and just Dark Side of the Ring discussion for next week, which is fine because I want to go more in depth to both the New Jack and the Brawl for All.
And now we have no content to talk about. So I want to ask you two things real quick. The Raw after WrestleMania.
Well, hold on. We'll get there. I want to just real quick. Where do you think, and we can talk about that in a second, where do you think we go now with Gargano and Ciampa? Like, where do you think, because they both have been adamant about staying on NXT, so I don't see either one of them going to Raw or SmackDown. What programs do you put them in now?
So the whole storyline was, right, who's the face of NXT? I mean, that was kind of the gist of the storyline. With Johnny winning, and it's supposed to be being over, because Triple H said if it's not, you won't be here.
Right.
They got to move him on. So I think Johnny goes on to some kind of a promo or some kind of
Program.
a program with like Keith Lee. You might see him in that North American title picture, or I don't really see it, but I guess that would hint to me that he would be headed towards the NXT Championship. With a program with Adam Cole again, I don't see that. It doesn't interest me as much versus to what else they could do. I would rather see a Johnny and Keith Lee program. I think they could put on a great match, and then I think you would put Ciampa back into the running for Adam Cole.
See, William makes a good point, and this. So he said that Killer Cross and Scarlett was they were supposed to be in a car outside to set up the rivalry with Johnny and Candice. Does that mean, because it almost comes off as Killer Cross and Scarlett are going to be heels? Do you have a heel versus heel program?
Or is he going to be like one of those Bray Wyatt faces, where he's just kind of a monster that comes in, but people love it? I almost could see him feuding with Ciampa because it gives Ciampa something to do while Johnny rises to fame on this win.
Yeah, that's the part that intrigued me the most, because going into this, I saw it being Killer Cross and Tommaso Ciampa, and I'm almost surprised that it would have made more sense of a payoff for this feud that Killer Cross gets involved and leads to Ciampa losing the match. Even though I wouldn't have liked that payoff either, I think that's a better payoff than guys getting 2 low blows and then that's literally the end of the feud. I have trouble, and I get the NXT's fan base is different. If you had a program with Killer Cross and Johnny Gargano, to some degree it doesn't even matter if either one of them is a face or either one of them is a heel.
Right.
I don't know. It's just and credit to NXT. I mean, I give credit to AEW for doing this. NXT is keeping us guessing. They're keeping us on our toes and on the edge of our seat with what's next. KJ says, I think they're going to join back up. NXT doesn't seem to have any decent teams they want to push right now.
No, they won't get back together. Not anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think they will either. I mean, it would have made sense for them to join back up if they kind of went there. They teased the whole I'm sorry thing as they were, getting back up after, Candice low blowed Johnny, and then caught Tommaso from behind, so you knew that was out the window. But
if they were gonna do that, they would have done it when they reunited DIY for the
they would have kept them together.
Yeah, that's probably not gonna happen.
That's almost like too many Big Show face and heel.
That's
turns.
what I'm saying. The only thing I could see is them turning Johnny Gargano face again, but that's gonna be really hard to do after this match.
I just.
I don't know.
I think they need to stick to their guns. I think they need to keep Tommaso as a face. They need to keep Gargano as a heel, because Gargano can work well as a heel. I mean, it's not like he's horrible in that regard.
I would say now if Dream beats Adam Cole for the belt, then I could see Gargano going after Dream, and I would be okay with that.
But I don't think it's a coincidence that they're kind of integrating Killer Cross into the storyline, because they're having the vignettes either during or right before
their segments.
Yeah. So we'll see. You were going to mention something about Raw after WrestleMania.
Yeah, I just want to get some opinions on some of these topics that came out of this Raw after WrestleMania.
We probably need to wrap it up in about 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, easy. Because these are quick questions, pretty much.
Go for it.
Given the circumstances, this Raw obviously couldn't have been too big, because again, it was all pre-shot. It was, it is what it is with the current circumstances. Asuka beat Liv Morgan, no surprise, but I thought it was interesting that right after their tag title defeat, Asuka came out and did a singles match, which is why I told you it makes sense why she dropped the belt, because they want to use them. Then we got 3 different matches out of the Street Profits and Bianca Belair, and
yeah, that was
a really, really long segment. But Bianca Belair on Raw, I thought that was kind of a cool swerve. We had kind of talked about how it'd be cool if she got moved up officially.
And I think that's the right call. I mean, I think she hit her ceiling on NXT. I like her being paired with her husband, and being able to work with your spouse or significant other on any wrestling brand. I'm all for that. Just the backstage and being able to travel together element of it.
Thoughts on how they use her? I mean, with the current situation in the women's division, does she get a prominent kind of spot in the card, or is she going to be working?
I think she's
Liv
going
Morgan matches.
I think she's going to work with Zelina Vega at first.
Just get a little build,
and then I wouldn't be surprised if she gets thrown into the title picture eventually. I wouldn't even be opposed to her winning the title.
Right.
I mean, I've kind of grown on her. I wasn't a fan of her at first of NXT, but then I kind of watched more matches. Her she kind of, I can't put my finger on it. There are times whenever she cuts a promo and it feels annoying, but then there are other times where I'm just like, wow, that was a good promo.
She thrives off a crowd,
and she's really into promos too. That's the thing I love about it. Whenever
her and her husband both.
Whenever she had her promo with Charlotte and Rhea, and the whole you don't go here thing, but whenever Charlotte did this, and it's become a meme now where Bianca gets this
right
wide-eyed expression on her face. I like the fact that she's into it, so I kind of hope they throw her into the title picture eventually, just because it would be a change. I don't remember the last time one of the NXT women came to Raw or SmackDown and won the title. I mean, it feels like it's been a while. I mean, Paige maybe?
Paige is the one that comes to my mind. That got a direct shot to the belt.
Well, yeah, and it doesn't have to be a direct shot, but I mean,
said, Shayna technically could have been that, but just wanted to throw that out there. A lot of these matches seem like they were shot a while back, like the Aleister Black Apollo Crews match. No rhyme or reason really. That's a match that could have been shot a while back.
And I'm okay with I'm okay with the occasional match where there's not necessarily a storyline behind it, especially given the circumstances, as long as they don't overdo it. And I'm talking about WWE and AEW both. I get that the indie wrestler jobber aspect of AEW, why they're doing it, and I appreciate that they're doing it and giving an opportunity for indie workers to still earn a living, to still get a paycheck, to still get exposure on a major wrestling program. I think any indie wrestler would take it. I applaud Tony Khan for doing that. So yeah, as long as they don't overdo it, I'm good with it.
Ricochet and Cedric are together now. Thought that was an interesting team up.
Babyface
Ricochet. That boy shaved everything. Seth Rollins is still on TV. Thought that was interesting.
I was shocked by that too.
Just came out, beat a jobber, walked out. Nia Jax returned. I thought that was an interesting thing because I had literally just talked about her coming back, not even knowing. It was a really bad match, dude. They put her up against an NXT star, and it was
Deonna Purrazzo.
Humberto was on this show, which makes me think against Brandon Vink, which makes me think this was a match that was shot a few weeks back.
Yeah.
But this is where I wanted to get to. The Drew McIntyre Big Show segment or whatever that happened after Mania, technically 20 minutes after he won the belt. What do you feel is the purpose behind that, other than it was just to make, because my argument at first was they want to make Drew look even more dominant, so he just beat a beast, now he beat a giant 20 minutes afterwards.
But I think that's all it was.
Why Big Show's not relevant? He hasn't won a match in years,
but he turned heel again.
Or he stayed heel. I don't remember the last time he was actually.
I think last time he was on Raw, he was a face
with Kevin and Samoa. I don't know. I'm just. It didn't make sense. And so, I had a friend of mine message me and ask me, why did they do that? And I was like, the only thing I can think of is to try to, in a sense, build Drew.
And to give Big Show another turn.
But I'm kind of like, anybody but Big Show. Anybody but he's not on TV. Granted, I will plug the Big Show sitcom on Netflix is actually pretty decent.
The Big Show.
I am enjoing it, and there are other wrestlers on it.
Is it the Big Show or the Big Show show?
It's the Big Show show.
Okay.
And so I would recommend watching. It's fun to watch. But
it's not cheesy?
It is a little cheesy because it's a Netflix original. But if you're a sitcom person and you like wrestling, it's not too bad. And like Mark Henry's on it, Rikishi's on it, Mick Foley. So would definitely check it out. But I just wanted to get some thoughts on this because it just seemed like a really ill place to put Big Show out of all people to test Drew or to build Drew.
I agree with Chad. I think it was a combination of to sort of promote the Big Show or at least get him WWE camera time. I don't even remember if they mentioned the Big Show on Raw.
They didn't.
I think it was just to get his face in front of the camera, to kind of maybe put a face with to put Big Show's face on Netflix to connect it with the face on WWE.
Right.
I think there's that element, but I think it was also just to build Drew up into this like major player in WWE. I think those are the only two reasons. And I mean, to be quite honest, I was okay with it. I mean, it was just kind of one of those. It was what it was.
It didn't bother me.
I get it. Yeah, exactly.
It seemed out of place. It just didn't really make a whole lot of sense.
I think it would have made more sense if they would have done it on WrestleMania. Like just shoot the whole thing. Shoot his win over Lesnar.
That's my thing. Is like I didn't, or just shoot that match and then make it the main event of Raw. Like have him come out and do a promo. Like don't shoot the promo as if he just won at WrestleMania. Shoot the promo as, hey, you won last night. How do you feel? And
exactly.
Then, it just didn't make sense on how they shot it to me.
The problem with that is I think the reason they did that is because they were under some kind of like time constraints to where they couldn't like change out the set. So they still had to shoot it with the WrestleMania set. And they went the route of, okay, we're just going to plug this storyline as if like we said, it was just 20 minutes after the match. But if you're going to do it that way, just shoot the whole thing from the time the Lesnar-McIntyre match starts. Shoot it until he wins. Shoot him going backstage for the interview. Or it wasn't even backstage. It was
literally he came back out to the ring, shot an interview about how great things were.
Right. So he went to the back to get his nameplate or his custom plates put on the belt. I mean, just shoot. If you're shooting WrestleMania, I'm okay with just shooting all of it from the time he goes back, has his nameplates getting put on, walking back out, doing his interview.
Like the
Big Show interrupts. Big Show interrupts.
Yeah.
Do the match still watching WrestleMania because that would be a surprise swerve kind of thing. You would still pretty well know that McIntyre's going to keep the belt, but it's still a way to again push him as this big worthy holder of the title.
Right.
And I think obviously it was evident the WrestleMania set was still there. I would have been okay with just them continuing the shooting of WrestleMania and just include it on WrestleMania instead of just throwing it on Raw. And it was like it
was like they needed something to fill Raw with, so let's shoot this here and then play it on Raw. Like we're not going to mention it until Raw. And it was like,
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging with us today. I apologize for our video freezing up a couple of different times. We're going to try to get that fixed and ready to go before our next show on Monday. We'll be back here Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central Time. Again, share our page with your friends. Help us get to that 2,000 likes mark on Facebook so we can do our belt giveaway. I appreciate you guys supporting us and hanging out with us today. And we'll see you guys on Monday.
And so, goodbye. And good night. Bang!
This podcast was a presentation of LightUpMedia.fm.